All right. Could I ask, if I could ask people to have their seats, please? Candidates, do you want to do a quick mic check? Turn your mics on. And
My name is Ruchi.
yep, good.
Hi.
Hi.
Shaun.
Okay. Oh, maybe I'm too close. Okay. I do like to be heard, though. Hello, everybody, and welcome tonight. Before we go on camera, I'd like to cover a few points that apply to all of us in the live audience. Campaign literature is welcome outside the room. We ask that no campaign buttons, T-shirts, signs, or literature be visible in the room during our event. If you're interested in learning more about the League of Women Voters Rochester or would like to be added to the League's distribution list, we have experts in the back of the room at the table over here and lots of literature, and so you'll be able to get all your questions answered. Please remain as quiet as possible while the candidates are speaking so that everyone may hear, and please hold your applause until the forum has ended. Can you do that? Thank you. Then all the candidates will have the time possible to getting your points across. We expect everyone to be respectful to all the candidates, to our musicians, and to the forum process, and to follow the library's code of conduct for all events held here at the Public Library. The Rochester Public Library is live streaming the forum. The forum is also being projected in the first floor meeting room. Tonight's forum will be available for viewing from a link on the League of Women Voters Rochester's website. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for dealing with the complex aspect of getting into the library right now and parking your vehicle, if that's what you did. Please take a moment at this time to, guess what? Silence your phones. Turn off all your pagers and Palm Pilots and watch alarms. I would also remind the candidates to keep right in front of your mic, although these seem to be pretty effective just as they are. Tonight, I would like to welcome as it's kind of a special treat, we have the Zumbro Valley Choristers to sing the national anthem. Welcome, women.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you very much. Beautiful harmony. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Enid Weichselbaum, a member of the League of Women Voters in Rochester. I would like to welcome all of you here tonight, the candidates, the audience, those viewing at a later time, to this forum sponsored by the League of Women Voters Rochester. We'd also like to thank our generous partners in tonight's forum, the Rochester Post Bulletin, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Rochester Public Library for all of your help. The League of Women Voters is a volunteer organization organized at the local, state, and national levels to encourage citizens to participate in government. While we as a league do study and take stands on certain issues, we never endorse or oppose political parties or candidates. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, not those of the League of Women Voters Rochester or any partner or sponsor of this forum. The sponsorship of the forum is not an endorsement of any candidate. It is our purpose in sponsoring this forum to provide you with the opportunity to hear candidates discuss face-to-face issues that are important to you. Tonight's questions have come from the League of Women Voters Rochester and the Chamber of Commerce. The Rochester Post Bulletin will continue to ask questions of our candidates on an ongoing basis. But we are also asking for your submissions of questions. There are cards at this table, and if you have a question, just raise your hand, grab a card, and deliver it to that table, or somebody will come around and grab it for you. You are welcome to submit as many written questions as you like. If you are watching the live stream, you may email questions to lwvrochester@lwvmn.org. Questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. Given our format, your questions must relate to all candidates. Questions that fall into the same general area or which have been addressed in opening statements may be consolidated to allow the moderator to cover as many topics as possible in the time allotted. We appreciate questions that are forward-thinking rather than backward, or a review of past issues. If the answer was unclear to you, feel free to submit a follow-up question or ask the candidate after the forum. Cards will become property, that is, the question cards will become property of the League of Women Voters Rochester. As there's never enough time to cover all the issues in a limited time, look at, I got stacks of questions already. Please feel free to contact the candidate's campaign headquarters directly if your questions are not addressed tonight. We'd like to thank all the candidates for running for office, for offering to serve your community, for the enormous time, dedication, and commitment that running and serving demand. We encourage our members as individuals, as we encourage each of you to get involved in your community and the political party of your choice. Welcome to tonight's forum, which features candidates of Rochester City Council Ward 5. Candidates for this seat are Ruchi Gupta, Shaun Palmer, and Acacia Ward. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to offer an opening statement. The candidates will then respond in turn to questions provided by our moderating team, this evening's partners, and by the audience. Candidates will have 1 minute each to answer. The candidates will then have 2 minutes to make a closing statement. I would like to suggest to candidates that you make your answer as succinct as possible. It isn't necessary to use the entire minute for your answer, but please finish your sentence when your time is up. We would like to cover as many questions as possible. Each candidate also has 3 30-second rebuttal cards. These can be used at any point after each candidate has answered the question. Only 1 rebuttal card may be used per question. Please put the card in the black basket after you've used it. I would like to remind the audience to remain quiet during the forum, hold your applause until the end of the forum, and turn off all electronic devices. The timekeepers tonight are League of Women Voters member Jan Strand and Mary Jo Cosio. Trained question facilities are League of Women Voter Rochester members Rachel LaForge and Dee Voldal. Asking questions from the Post Bulletin tonight, if we get to that, are Randy Peterson and Jonathan Krull from the Chamber of Commerce. The candidates have drawn numbers to provide their opening statements. Candidate Ward drew number 1, and so Candidate Ward may begin with your opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Before I start, my name is Acacia Ward, and earlier this year, I'm a social work student.
Are we on that? Okay.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Can you hear her now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody can't.
It's important that you do speak into the mic because it's being recorded, not just for the room, but for our statement. I hope we're pausing the time. Are we okay on feedback back there?
She said it was.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead. Okay.
All right, perfect. My name is Acacia Ward, and I was born and raised in Rochester, Minnesota. I'm a social work student and I do advocacy for students in higher education across the state of Minnesota. Earlier this year, I was given an assignment for one of my courses that brought my attention to Metro Surge and what was going on in our community. And through that, my best friend's father was deported as he was sitting on his couch singing karaoke, doing the one thing he loved. And his two daughters had to deal with the trauma and fear that federal agents caused them. That inspired me to get involved with some compassion work here in Rochester, where I built baskets for families and provided resources and connected people with things that they needed to help their family through a tough time. My best friend also asked me at that time, or she mentioned that it was so cool that I could be in the rooms that I was in. And that's what motivated me to run for city council. At that moment, I felt like, why would somebody not feel welcome in these rooms? And it motivated me to make sure that other people feel welcome in these rooms. And if they don't feel welcomed or if they can't make it, then somebody needs to go to them and make the room welcoming for them. So I am running for city council in Ward 5, so I can bring people together, bring their voices to city council, and represent residents of Rochester.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
There are just two things you need to remember tonight. Experience matters, and affordability is a problem in Rochester. It's been an honor to serve the city council at the 5th Ward since 2018. I have followed the city council for over 30 years. The best council members that I've seen are ones that listen. And I've heard I'm a good listener. I have served the Olmsted County Environmental Commission and was past chairman. Issues we worked on were septic, water, and garbage. Members were from the small cities, the townships, and the county board and city council. I also served on the YMCA Camp Olson board and was past president 2 times. It was a diverse group of people and ideas, and we worked towards the mission to be the best summer experience in camping. My mission on the city council is to serve all the citizens of Rochester, what is best for Rochester, always. I have a great deal of experience in housing. I currently represent the city on the Housing Coalition. I have met with over 80 people to hear solutions to our housing problem. I read all the reports and have attended some of the conferences. I'm very proud that we have a new pool at Silver Lake and a new pickleball courts going in at Cook Park. One of the hardest problems we have is when I knock on doors is when people say, the value of my house is going up, but my taxes are going up higher. We need to continue to work and keep Rochester affordable. Tonight, please remember, experience matters. Affordability is a problem. Please go to my website, palmerward5.org, and vote Palmer August 11th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gupta.
Good evening. Thank you, Post Bulletin, League of Women Voters, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Rochester Public Library. I am honored and excited to be here today. My name is Ruchi Gupta, and I'm running for City Council, Ward 5. I'm serving my 2nd year as Chair of Planning and Zoning Commission, and prior to that, I've served 3 years as Vice Chair. This 4.5-year journey has helped me discover a passion for giving back to the city and has shown me how much more I have to offer. Having grown up in Delhi, India, I bring a unique background that blends education, life experience, and the adaptability inherent in immigrants wherever they may come from. I have master's degrees in mathematics and physics, and I have graduate certificates in software systems and applied statistics. I've lived in Rochester since 2002. I've raised my children here, and I became a citizen of the United States in 2007. But most of all, I consider myself a citizen of the diverse and vibrant Rochester community. As part of my campaign, I've been door knocking in Ward 5 for a few weeks now, and I've listened to comments, and my two takeaways so far are that residents want council to be representative of Rochester and a council member that responds to issues raised in the ward. These are key ingredients for my vision where Rochester remains livable in a forward-thinking way and a place people are proud to call home. If elected, I hope to establish a relationship built on my accessibility to constituents and trust and transparency between city and residents through abundant communication and accountability. It is with these values that I ask for your vote in this primary that runs through August 11th.
Thank you. Our first question then will come from the League of Women Voters. Candidate Gupta will begin, followed by candidate Palmer, and then candidate Ward. The question is, what investments would you make to ensure Rochester remains a place where people want to live, not just work? Candidate Gupta?
Economic development is a major part of investing in Rochester. It creates jobs, a stronger base, supports small businesses, and ensures that Rochester isn't overly dependent on any one industry. We need to diversify Rochester's economic beyond healthcare, support local and small businesses, leverage Mayo Clinic and DMC to attract new industries, strengthen the commercial tax base to reduce pressure on homeowners, and create places where people want to live, work, and visit.
Thank you. And candidate Palmer?
We have a lot of investments that we've done in Rochester, and we're lucky to have DMC in Rochester that is investing in our infrastructure for the downtown area, which will then help out the Mayo Clinic, which is the largest employer in the state of Minnesota. One of the investments that I'm proud of that we've done is in the Parks Department. We have a $2 million referendum that passed back in 2021. And when that passed, that gave us a little bit more funding to make our parks better. One of the things that happened with that is that Soldiers Field Park became a new swimming pool and a new area for people to play. Also, we have our new pool again at Silver Lake. That was a fight that we had for 20 years. We finally got that done. I was there today. It's a beautiful place for people to play. And we also have to invest in our businesses. How do we make our businesses feel welcomed in Rochester, and how do we assist them is one of the ongoing investments that we have to make.
Thank you. And candidate Ward?
I think all of the investments that both of my opponents listed were great. I think what makes those great is when they become affordable and accessible for everybody. And then I think the most important investment we can make as a city is in our youth. We have so many children and so many young adults and adolescents in Rochester, and they need to be invested in. And that happens through mentorship. And the only way that people can mentor is with quality of life, if they have time, if they can afford their lives. So I believe that by making everything in Rochester more affordable and protecting people's expenses and financial situations and supporting people for where they're at, they can then invest in children by mentorship, and then the children will become mentors, and then everybody can invest in each other.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the Chamber of Commerce, and we're going to begin with candidate Palmer, followed by candidate Ward, and then candidate Gupta.
Similar to the previous question, but driving more into the business side of it, how do you view Rochester's current business climate, both in downtown and greater Rochester? And what specific actions would you prioritize to support business investment, expansion, and job creation over the next 4 years?
I think one of the hardest things for us to do right now is how do we help our downtown businesses survive through the construction season in the next couple of years. And we've done a good job of going out and working with them, doing wayfinding out there so that people can find their businesses, encouraging people to visit the businesses downtown. But we also have a lot of businesses on the outskirts of town, and it's important for them to be able to find help. It's important for our downtown people to be able to find help. Also, for parking. And one of the things that we can do differently is with our parking ramps is to make it available to those entry-level workers who are downtown and need to park their car, and make it easier for them and compete with the outskirts where they have parking lots that they have that they don't have to pay for.
Thank you. Candidate Ward.
Yeah, regarding businesses throughout Rochester, I think one of the biggest investment, or one of the most important part of our economic system is small businesses, local businesses. And many of our local business owners have been neglected or disappointed by the city's
Quiet, please.
sorry, by the city's actions. Many businesses have been started downtown with city funding that was promised to people, and there was no transparency, so those businesses have shut down. And that is not okay. We need to support our local businesses. We need to make sure that there's access to those local businesses, whether that's parking or if there's no construction in the way. And protect those local businesses because they are the ones keeping our town affordable and giving us quality products to use.
And Candidate Gupta.
At a first glance, Rochester is not currently an ideal or even an attractive candidate for new business, with so many closing down. We must endeavor to protect our current vulnerable small business community from being treated as collateral damage due to growth. But an argument can be made that with a new, carefully constructed approach, the climate is right for rebuilding. As we look forward to 2030 and more stability, Rochester can be seen as an almost clean slate to provide opportunity for innovative entrepreneurship, startups, as well as the traditional model small business that we are so familiar with. With a seat on council, I would favor easing licensing, transitioning from home business to storefront, work with the RDA, DMC, and groups like Collider to advocate for small business protections and incentives for innovation.
Thank you. Our next question deals with the environment. Our question order will be Candidate Gupta, followed by Candidate Palmer, and then Candidate Ward. The question is, Rochester has adopted a 2025 strategic priority for environmental stewardship and sustainability. What proposals would you support which will meet the city's goal of 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions by 2030? Candidate Gupta.
The first thing that I would support is the natural gas franchise fee. We have the option to pool using that to update energy efficient assistance, community sustainable programs like rain gardens and green roofs. So I intend to support Rochester's sustainability goals while emphasizing practical, measurable actions. We need resilient infrastructure, energy efficiency, tree canopy, multimodal transportation, stormwater improvements, and regular process reporting.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Thank you. Rochester is a unique city because we do have an RPU, which is the Rochester Public Utilities. They provide us with our electrical service, and their mandate is by 2030 is to be all natural producing of electricity. We also have a water system, and our water system is one of the best in the United States, and we try to keep our costs down. I would not be in favor of the natural gas fee increase because if you're trying to be affordable in Rochester, adding more costs to homeowners is not what we need to be doing, and that would be a disincentive for people, and it hurts the person that doesn't use a lot of gas more because there'd be a flat fee, and that flat fee would be not helpful for them. But those are some of the things that we've done. The other thing that we can do is improve our bus system, and one of the things we are doing is that we have the rapid bus system right outside the door here being built, and next year that will help out keeping cars from coming downtown.
Thank you. And Candidate Ward.
So when it comes to the environment of Rochester, I don't have any policy or ordinance for Rochester specifically that I can refer to. But what I do know is that over the weekend, I learned a lot about the data centers that are being proposed around the state and around the country by a group of residents in Pine Island. And when I was there, I learned the impacts on not only their environment, but ours. Our power, our water, our air are all at risk due to these ginormous data centers that are trying to make their way into our neighbors' communities. And I do know that Rochester is protected from having these massive data centers, thanks to a Minnesota law. But what we are not protected from is the wind that blows from these other communities and the water that comes from these other communities, as we look at the Zumbro River being a drinking source for our city. So to protect our environment, we need to
All right, thank you. Our next question is about the city charter. We're going to begin with candidate Ward, followed by candidate Gupta and candidate Palmer. What changes, if any, should be made to the city charter? Candidate Ward.
I think there are plenty of changes that could be made to the city charter. That is a great question. Man. City council decisions are so much more than infrastructure. They're decisions that impact people's lives every single day. Decisions that have impacted my life every single day. City council, it might be, is it supposed to be a full-time job? No, it doesn't have to be a full-time job. But as long as you are engaging in the community, advocating for what people want, listening to people's true needs and true desires, then the city council will do great. So, as I said, many changes to the charter, but it also depends on the people who are on city council.
Thank you. Candidate Gupta?
Right off the top of my head, a few things that come to my mind are the Better Public Meetings report that can be adopted by City Council to inform our public better and for better engagement. And the other one that I think of is that after having been on the Planning and Zoning Commission for 4.5 years, most of our applications that we review go forward to the City Council. And we get a little bit of feedback about how they decided, what they did, about the applications we forwarded to them. But I think the Planning and Zoning Commission would benefit a little bit more from maybe some guidance there. So I think those are the two things that I can think of.
Thank you. And candidate Palmer?
Well, our charter is the rule book, how we run the city, and it has 3 charter boards, and that would be the library, the parks, and the RPU. We have, basically, we budget for those 3 areas, in the library and the parks. We give them a large sum of money, and they spend it, and those boards hire and fire their directors. The city council has nothing to do with that. And then at the end of the year, they tell us how they did, and then the city council says, okay. RPU is a unique one because it runs our electrical service, and we need to have community members on that board to be able to help out and bring a philosophy or an experience that they have in their business and how to run RPU in a better way, and they've done a very good job of that.
Thank you. Next. Yes.
So I wanted to address Rochester Public Utilities and their board. It is a board of community members, but it is not a representation of our community whatsoever. That's all I have.
Thank you. Our next question has to do with housing. We are going to begin with candidate Palmer, followed by candidate Ward, and then candidate Gupta. In what ways, if any, should the city council support the development of affordable housing? Candidate Palmer?
Well, that's one of the biggest things that the city council has been working on. One of the great things that we have in the city right now is that we are partners with the Housing Coalition. The Housing Coalition is made up of Olmsted County, the city of Rochester, Mayo Clinic, and the Rochester Area Foundation and DMC. They put a bunch of money into the fund. We do look at what needs in Rochester, where do we need to go. The last thing that we had done was the Maxfield study that said that we need 1,000 home ownership, homes built every year. Last year, we did about 190. This year, we should probably hit 500 to 600 houses. That's one of the things that happens when the Housing Coalition works together. We could talk about attainable housing. Attainable to me is better than affordable. Affordable is one of those things that's hard for people to understand what it is, but people understand attainable. What is attainable to some people? Some people it's an apartment. Some people it's a subsidized apartment. Some people it's a $500,000 house or a $350,000 house that is an existing house.
Thank you. Candidate Ward?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. If I can find it. In what ways, if any, should the city council support the development of affordable housing?
Thank you. So affordable housing is very personal to me. I'm currently a renter, and I've had dreams of owning a home my entire life, and I'm still working on that. But when I do decide to move into home ownership, one thing I want and one thing my kids want is to have a home that we own that is also a space for other people that we love. And currently, zoning does not allow or is headed in the direction that will only allow single-family housing and dense high-rise apartments. And that is not what affordable or accessible housing looks like. It looks like options for people who want to own and rent and have stability in our community.
Candidate Gupta?
Housing policy is economic development policy. In this policy, in order to develop housing, we have to use data, not assumptions. And the Maxfield Housing Study grounds us in that data. We need to increase supply where need is greatest, and our need greatest right now is for rental, where we have only 3% vacancy. We need to diversify housing choices. We have to encourage apartments, townhomes, duplexes, ADUs, missing middle housing, and affordable home ownership, not just large lots, single-family subdivisions. We need to partner strategically with organizations like the Rochester Area Housing Coalition and use tools such as TIF when they produce measurable public benefit. We need to build smarter by supporting infill redevelopment, mixed-use neighborhoods, and efficient use of existing infrastructure to reduce long-term public costs. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have a rebuttal.
Yeah, I'll just add that the city council, when we did the UDC, went down to 3,000 square foot lots to make them smaller. We took the side lots, we made them smaller, so you can build smaller homes in Rochester. One of the reasons that home ownership is important is that if somebody owns a home, that they can grow wealth, and they'll be 40 times wealthier than somebody who's in an apartment. Now in Rochester, we do need apartments. They're important because for people who are living here for 1 to 3 years. But Rochester's done a good job, but we do need to do a better job of providing home ownership of all types. It can be condos, it can be townhouses, it can be all types of housing.
Thank you. Our next question revolves around public safety. We're going to begin with candidate Gupta, followed by candidate Palmer, and then candidate Ward. Candidate Gupta, what role, if any, do you think the city should play in immigration enforcement?
My experience with Operation Metro Surge was somewhat personal. I was followed by an ICE van for several blocks, and I was able to tell they were ICE because they spoke into their microphone, and I could see them through the rear view. So I felt the fear firsthand. So I did present to City Council and to County at their meetings about my experience, and I, along with a lot of other people, and I think I'm completely on board with the report that was submitted along with the state of Minnesota to the federal government. So I think we took the needed steps and within the limits of what the city could have done.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Request
Oh.
that candidate Gupta turn her mic so that it faces her. She
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
And candidate Ward, maybe bend your mic down a tiny bit. Like, there we go. Okay, and candidate Palmer.
Well, thank you. I believe it was back in February, Mr. Wall and I decided that we needed to bring some facts down to Rochester, and so we invited the Attorney General to come down and have a get-together for us and have an hour conversation. We invited the county attorney and the city attorney. They were there. We had 128 people arrive, and it was enlightening. It was good to have the Attorney General down here in Rochester and hear the facts of what was going on and what we needed to do. And so that was one of the things that we could do, and that's one of the things we did do, and I'm very proud of that.
Thank you. Candidate Ward.
As I mentioned earlier, Metro Surge and immigration is very personal to me as well. Not only was Metro Surge in effect for me, but also my son's father was deported back in 2018 when my son was 1. So when it comes to immigration, I understand that there are things that need to happen. There are crimes that are committed that people know that they have to be deported or in custody for. With that being said, Rochester Police Department could have done so much more. I was at the Minnesota Truth Council last night, and 16 stories were told about the effects of Metro Surge. Police Department did not show up and then said they did. So there's so much more that could have been done.
Thank you. And candidate Gupta.
I already spoke about the
Oh,
ICE.
I'm sorry. I'm going ahead. Well, then you don't need to answer again. Our next question is more about the public library system, but we will begin with candidate Ward. Given the evolving role of libraries as community hubs, what specific budgetary or operational steps will you take, if any, to support and modernize our library system?
Well, the library we're sitting in right now is an amazing space, not only for people who love to read, but people who like video games, books, technology, all of it. I think the library is doing a great job, and the staff here are phenomenal. They don't mind my crazy questions, and they don't mind my wild kids. So it's a great place, and I would continue to support this library. And it also, the library services also expand throughout the county. They go to Orinoco as well. And so I would continue to lean on that partnership with the cities around us and bring the experience of the library to other communities as well as throughout our town. And then I would expand the hours of operation for the library, especially on weekends, with it opening at 10 a.m. and closing at 6 p.m. That leaves a lot of morning time and evening time for families, especially with young children, to have nothing to do, especially in the winter months. So.
Thank you. Candidate Gupta.
The public library system is a very strong resource for the city of Rochester. And I feel that encouraging satellite libraries and decentralizing at least some of its facilities to other parts of the city would help with access to the library for people who cannot make it here. But the centralized portion of the library that is here is also very critical because it brings people together. So we can separate it out so that people can access it, but people coming together here is also rewarding. So that a partial decentralization, mostly centralized, but modernization, I think the Libby app, etc., have already made access much easier, and the websites are great. So I think the library is doing very well.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Well, our library is one of the better libraries in Minnesota, and one of the things that they offer lots of different services and not a lot of people know about. And one of them is municipal IDs. And I was one of the very first people to get a municipal ID because I thought it was very important for it to have. One of the things you can't do, or three of the things you can't do with it, is you can't buy alcohol, you can't buy guns, and you can't vote with it. But you can put your name down that you would like to be used as. You can have your address on it. And it takes 2 forms of ID to get one, and they have one right at the front desk. They make it very easy to use. They also have other services that they have in Rochester, which are great for people to use. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is revolving around community engagement. We're going to begin with candidate Palmer, followed by candidate Ward, and then candidate Gupta. In what ways will you engage with your constituents, especially those from diverse backgrounds, to understand their concerns?
Well, I have done quite a bit of that, and one of the things I'm proud of that we've done is that in December of every year that I've been in office, we've done the 5th Ward report. And what that does is you send it out to the residents of Rochester in the 5th Ward. They get to read what we've done and what we're going to do, and I get a lot of compliments about that, and I do pay for that out of my own pocket. I'm also on the KROC radio when I'm not running for election, and I do that once a month, and you can listen to that. You can go backwards and listen to it on their podcast to see what we do. I also have had meet me in the park, where you can meet me in the park and ask me questions. I put out my cell phone number for everybody to, and my email address, and I'm very proud of the fact that I return emails and phone calls the best that I can.
Thank you. Candidate Ward.
I live for community engagement and understanding people's experiences through themselves, through their words, through their time, whatever they're willing to tell me, I'm willing to sit and listen as long as it takes for me to understand their experience in this community. I attend community events daily, almost, if I'm not napping on a Sunday. But yeah, community engagement is what I live for, and I'm going to continue to do that. I did it before this. I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to continue to do it no matter what.
Candidate Gupta.
I intend to engage with community in Ward 5, if elected to council, through organizing neighborhoods into associations the best that I can. It will take participation from neighborhoods and interest and leadership on that end, but I think that is an efficient and effective way to get communication up to me. And coalescing neighborhoods into organized groups also helps pool resources and access to each other before anything comes to me. So I think it's a good way to distill requests before they go up to the council member. And of course, I will be available for individual reach as well.
Thank you.
May I use a rebuttal?
Yes, you may.
So Ward 5 has several neighborhood associations, one being the Lower Town Neighborhood Association, and both of my opponents, one has declined to meet with them when they were offered, and the other did go on the same walking tour I did through Lower Town and blamed things like the neighborhood and said that we just have to keep building up. So, yeah.
Thank you. Next question about childcare. In order, we'll begin with candidate Gupta, followed by candidate Palmer and candidate Ward. We are now in year 2 of Rochester's Year About Youth. What actions have you taken or would you take to make childcare more accessible and affordable for all children? Candidate Gupta.
Childcare has become extremely expensive over the years, and at the same time, the staff is not even available despite increasing prices. So I think that in order to make childcare affordable, employers should step up to provide childcare facilities in-house. So that parents can be at close hand when they are at work, and I think a closer-knit family system would help, but that's not always an option. So I have not thought too much about this.
Okay. All right. Candidate Palmer.
Well, for the city council, other than trying to help on employees, it's not one of our bailiwicks, that's not one of our areas that we are responsible for. It's the county that helps out with daycare. It's the state of Minnesota with their rules and their regulations. If they were to relax some of their rules and some of their regulations, I think that you'd be able to have more competition, you'd have more availability, more supply, and I think you'd see some of the costs go down for it. I understand that it's a big cost for a lot of families. If you have a newborn, it's almost $4,000 a month almost, and that's outrageous. But I think that the things that the city does, that is not one of them. You know, we do public safety, we do public works. Those are the items that we do. We don't do much with childcare.
And candidate Ward.
As far as the city level, there's not many decisions that I'm aware of that are specifically childcare. But what I do know is that as elected officials, or as an elected official, I will have the ability to collaborate with other elected officials at the county level and state level. I will also be able to work with programs and organizations like Child Care for All and be at, like we talked about, community engagement. I will be at the events, and if they need a hand, I will help them as they pass out information to advocate for Child Care for All. Child care advocacy is what started my work in advocacy. I was a Head Start policy council member as a pregnant mother, and I've continued that work through advocacy with Family Service Rochester's FAR program, where I advocate for mothers who are in recovery. And with Family Service Rochester, I also helped co-design their Family Resource Center.
Thank you. And that was the three candidates. We're going on to, well, I filled up my chart already, so we're going through the second round on this. You guys are doing a beautiful job. Affordability. We're going to begin with candidate Gupta, and then candidate Palmer and candidate Ward. With property taxes continuing to rise, what specific steps would you support to keep Rochester affordable while still maintaining essential city services?
Increasing property taxes have been a matter of concern for residents and council alike. It is a four-pronged number that is assessed by county, city, the Rochester Public Schools, and special referendums that need a public vote. Reduced support from state and federal government, as well as failing local businesses, have strained the city's operational budget. On council, I would work on restoring the local housing affordability, as summarized in the Maxfield study, widening the commercial tax base, and pay close attention to the budget that allocates these funds so that they benefit the city's operational capacity, as well as taxpayer directly.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Well, in Rochester, we're lucky we have a AAA bond rating, one of the very few cities in the state that has that, and we've had it for over 50 years. We have a $580 million budget. $375 million of that is for operations. Our property tax took in $101 million in 2024. An average home in Rochester is about $428,000. Your public safety, they get $583 of that. Public Works, they get $160 of that. The library gets $115 of that. Parks get $145 of that. If you want to cut the city budget, you have to come up with $1.1 million worth of cuts. Now, the last time we had our budget in December, I made those references and I received 3 votes, not 4, to cut our budget a little bit by that. 1% is a big deal to most people. And we work hard to try to be efficient with our government in the city, but we can do better.
Thank you. And candidate Ward.
Can you repeat the question?
With property taxes continuing to rise, what specific steps would you support to keep Rochester affordable while maintaining essential city services?
Thank you. Keeping Rochester affordable. I don't have like numbers to give, right? All I know is that Rochester is not affordable. Otherwise, people wouldn't have to work multiple jobs just to take care of their families. So steps that I would take to make sure that Rochester is affordable is I would be mindful of buildings that are being torn down and thinking of ways to invest in what we have first that cost less, like the Honker Stadium at Mayo Field could have been invested in with $4 million a few years back, but now we are looking at replacing that and piling on multiple sports in one facility, which then leaves traffic issues, and then we have to knock down buildings in Lower Town. So I would say slowing down on decisions when it comes to development would help with affordability.
Thank you. Our next question is about recreational facilities and services. We're going to begin with candidate Palmer, followed by candidate Ward and candidate Gupta. So candidate Palmer, how should the city allocate funding for recreational facilities such as bike trails and public parks?
Well, when we were talking about the charter boards, the park department is controlled by the park board, which is then nominated by the mayor. And one of the things that we have done as a city council is we did a gym pilot. We worked with the school superintendent, and there was 4 gyms that they had in the wintertime. And we told them that we would give them up to $50,000, and they had a pilot that they had 4 gyms open on the weekends for people. Another thing that we've done this year is that we have, for their swim pools, we have an annual pass that you could buy, or you could buy a 10-ticket pass to get into the pools. Those are some of the things that we've done. The other thing that we do in Rochester, which is unique, is that our recreational people are basically put on by nonprofits and by families and parents that put it together. We don't have staff that do that. That's a unique system that we have that works pretty good in Rochester.
Candidate Ward.
Yeah, so when it comes to recreation, ideally, recreation should continue to be throughout town, whether that's parks and trails, swimming pools, sports activities. It should be spread out so that, and accessible, so that everyone in our town has access to different types of recreation. The Rochester Public School gym pilot was not a success. Not many people went. I don't have the specific numbers, but Longfellow was one of those schools, and that's a school near and dear to me. So I know it was not a success. The YMCA was torn down years ago, and we are now looking at building a sports complex to pretty much fill the same purpose. So I would make different decisions on that. And I would also look at investing in youth sports and affordable pools that are not 60% designed for a private organization and then said they are affordable because they have a free splash pad for children.
Thank you. And candidate Gupta.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. How should the city allocate funding for recreational facilities such as bike trails and public parks?
I think bike trails and public parks are a really important component of our public park system, and funding should be allocated depending on budget. And I think neighborhoods can really come together to bring up to bring attention to the ones that need most attention, as well as to connect the disconnections between parks and trails. I can give an example of a trail that is near our home that is really beat up, and I put up a reel about it. And I went and talked to Parks and Rec, and they sent an inspector out there, and now it is marked for upgrade by Rochester Public Works. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Parks is a quality of life issue. It's one of those things that when people come to Rochester, they look at. One of the things that we've done, we now have 4 splash pads at the different areas of Rochester, and that adds that ability for people to go to Lincolnshire or go to other splash pads. We're doing another one at Martin Luther King Park. We have 90 miles of bike trails. That's unique in any city in Rochester. We get awards for that. And I run on those trails, and I tell you that they're used all the time by many, many different people. And the citizens of Rochester stepped up and they did the park referendum. It was $2 million they added to our parks to say, this is what we want to do. And they've used those dollars to upgrade our neighborhood parks, which are important for people. They upgraded Soldiers Field Park.
Thank you.
Can I use a rebuttal?
Yes, you may.
Splash pads are great. Parks are great. But what do we do for the teenagers here? Because they're bored. Some of them walk to the gas station or Target in their free time because I have nothing to do. Some of them do things that you would consider causing trouble, right? So there's nothing to do for these teenagers. So we can build all the splash pads and the parks in the world, and they are great. I love them. I visit them with my children. But what about the people that we are missing right now, that are growing up in this community and have absolutely nothing to do and nowhere to go besides a screen?
Thank you. Just a reminder, candidate Ward, you've used 3 rebuttals. Okay. Our next question is regarding city staff, and we're going to begin with candidate Gupta, followed by candidate Palmer and candidate Ward. Candidate Gupta, how do you feel city council members should interact with city staff outside of council meetings?
Council members and staff have different responsibilities, but they share the same mission of serving the public. Staff provide technical expertise and recommendations. The council represents community values and sets policy. I respect staff's professional knowledge while always remembering that elected officials are ultimately accountable to residents for the decision made. As far as meeting outside of council meetings, as long as they're out in the public, that is a different matter. But behind closed doors, I think those continue to remain confidential.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Well, the way that I currently handle that is we have we have 7 city council members and we have 2 employees that we employ. One of them is the city attorney and one of them is the city administrator. If I have a question for somebody, I send it to the city attorney or the city administrator, and I have them answer those questions. I don't reach out to individual employees or department heads. A lot of times I will even copy, if it's something with the city council, I'll copy our council president, because it's important for everybody to understand that as a city council, we act only when we're at the council. There's 4 of us that make a decision, and once we make the decision, we march as one. That's our decision. That's what we do. And I think that's the best way of handling it. We don't go down to the street cleaner and say, hey, you're doing it wrong, or go over to this street. That's not the appropriate thing for a city council member to be doing.
Thank you. And candidate Ward?
City staff in Rochester, the people who do the day-to-day work for us, are amazing people. They have families like us, they have responsibilities like us, and they deserve to be treated with dignity just like all of us. If I have a relationship with somebody who is currently a city staff member, I would continue that relationship, as that's my personal business, and as long as it's appropriate, that's what I'm going to do. If I see if I see Rochester Public Works in front of my driveway, like I did this morning, I will greet them and I will ask them what they're up to, and I will learn from them what they're doing. And those are the things I would do to get to know them.
Thank you. I'm going to ask one more question, and then we'll be ready for closing statements. It's kind of a general question. We're going to begin with candidate Ward, followed by candidate Gupta, and then candidate Palmer. The question, candidate Ward, is what do you see as the biggest challenge facing Rochester in the next 4 years, and what is the biggest opportunity in the next 4 years?
I think the biggest challenge for Rochester right now and in the near future is having to make decisions based on decisions that were made in the past that have now made Rochester really unaffordable and not fun to live in. I love Rochester. I grew up here and I'm staying here because my kids have a great school and we have great friends, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. There's nowhere else I'd rather call home. So I think I got lost in the question.
What's
But-
the greatest challenge? What's the greatest opportunity?
Greatest challenge is, readdressing those financial decisions that have been made by the city, previous city council members, some of them, and finding the better solutions for them and coming to people to understand what they want first.
Thank you. Candidate Gupta.
The greatest challenge that Rochester faces right now is heading into this growth phase and managing all the infrastructure that we need to catch up with. The downtown area is going through one of the biggest transformations in Rochester's history. Our challenge is making sure today's disruption leads to tomorrow's opportunity for residents as well as businesses. We should focus on activating vacant storefronts, supporting local businesses, improving wayfinding, parking, walkability, expanding housing, and encouraging arts and entertainment that make downtown active beyond the workday. A successful downtown isn't just a place people pass through, it's a place where they choose to spend time.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Well, one of our biggest challenges is affordability. How do we get the cost of Rochester services to go down a little bit, and how do we make it affordable and attainable for everybody in Rochester? Part of that is growth. When you talk about housing, and one of the things from the Maxfield study you can see is in 2015, we were 41% less in our median sales price in houses from the cities. We are now more expensive than the cities for a medium price home. That's what we need to fix, is how do we make attainable houses for people? The other problem that we're going to have is how do we engage people? It's really difficult for people to sit at home and not engage with us. They're busy. How does the city council work on that and get people engaged in that? One of the ways we did it last night, we had Safe City Nights in the 5th Ward at Jefferson. Well attended. It's put on by the police department. They do a great job of that. But our biggest opportunity really is the people of Rochester. We have a great set of people in Rochester, and we can do anything we want. We can put our minds to it, we can do it, and I truly believe that the citizens of Rochester are unique because we can do things that other cities cannot do.
Thank you. We are ready for our closing remarks. Based on the numbers that were drawn at the beginning, we're going to use the same order. So closing remarks will begin with Candidate Ward, followed by Candidate Palmer, and finally Candidate Gupta. Candidate Ward, you may offer your closing remarks.
Oh, yeah. Once again, I just want to thank everybody for being here. This has been a great experience, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I've been enjoying getting to know constituents, future constituents, residents all over in Rochester, and especially in Ward 5, who I will hopefully represent in the near future. I also wanted to say, although I don't have all the data with me, I do have the knowledge and the experience that it takes to do this. And if you are sitting with me and having a conversation with me about something, I will find the answers to find a solution to what we're talking about. But the biggest thing that I will use to guide my decisions is the people's experiences and their voices and what they tell me. As well as my day-to-day experience. I feel like because my day-to-day experience includes being in the community, that says it all. Yeah, I also brought some flyers, and I asked 2 questions to people when I door knock and at community events. I ask what makes Rochester feel like home, and what's one thing you would like improved in Rochester. Both of those questions are really important to me, And I printed some photos of the responses that people gave at one of the events I had that question at. And there's not enough time in the world to talk about these things. So if you want to talk more, reach out to me.
Thank you. Candidate Palmer.
Thank you. Well, I started out today telling you that there's two things to remember, and number one is experience matters. As you can see, city council is a large job. We have a lot of things that we do. We have a bus service. We have a sewer service. We have water service. We do our own planning and zoning. We have an airport. They don't have those things at Minneapolis and St. Paul City Council. We do. There's a lot of things that you need to know when you're doing this experience. Housing is a huge issue. The amount of work that we have to do for housing. How do we get to 1,000 houses? We have to have a plan. We have a plan we're working on, and I believe that we will attain that. It's important for us to keep in mind quality of life. People are here, they want quality of life. They want those park services. They want new pools. They want public safety. They want to be safe in their home. They want to be safe in our community. And that's probably the largest thing that Rochester has going for it, is that we're a safe community. But we care. And we care for everybody in Rochester. And I think that's important for people to remember. One of the things on housing, the reason that home ownership is such a big deal is that's how a family builds wealth. And if you own a home, you're 40 times more wealthier than if you're just renting. Now, not everybody's going to own a home. 2 or 3 years, you're going to want to have an apartment, and there's needed for that. We've done a very good job of making apartments available for people. But quality of life is a huge issue for people, and that's what people really care about. When I'm knocking on doors, I hear about our parks. I hear about a pothole. I hear of how I helped them with a tree. They call me and they say, gee, Shaun, you helped me with this. Thank you very much. That's important to hear that back from people, and it's important to be available for people. Again, I'm Shaun Palmer. I hope that you vote for me on August 11th. It's a big election coming up here. It decides how the city council is going to do. How do we work together as a city council? I think that is important for people to remember. But again, experience matters. Affordability is a huge issue. It's when you're knocking on doors, it's huge to people. So I appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Gupta.
In closing, I would like to draw attention to the fact that I have a substantial educational background in the quantitative sciences, which trained me to think critically and analytically. After 18 years as a biostatistical programmer, I also have experience in teamwork, time management, task management, budget management, communication, attention to detail, and independent problem solving. Additionally, my experience in the Planning and Zoning Commission has positioned me with a complete skill set that, if elected, renders me ready to hit the ground running. I have an ambitious agenda of property tax mitigation, affordable housing, economic diversification, transit infrastructure, public trust, neighborhood quality of life, and environmental stewardship. I don't want to be a council member that says no. I want a path to yes. In a growing city accompanied by growing diversity, we need to find solutions together, even if they meet 80% of criteria. This is because Rochester is looking for change that is forward-thinking and brings along the city in its entirety. I hope to be the voice for that change and ask for your vote on or before August 11th. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Hold on
I-
just a moment. Yeah, okay, yes,
Can I rebuttal this closing? I feel like I was attacked.
all right.
When we talk about experience, there's one thing that's missing at this table. Well, except for me. Lived experience is the biggest experience that needs to be brought into this city. And it's the biggest thing that's missing for Ward 5 residents. Ward 5 residents asked me to run for city council because they are not being listened to. They are not being represented the way they see fit. They are not being treated with dignity. They are being walked away from. They are being hung up on. They are given 2 minutes to speak. That is not what experience brings to city council. That is not what should be at the dais.
And it seems we have another rebuttal.
Oh, yeah. I have never hung up on anybody. I'll meet with anybody. I answer emails and phone calls, so I don't know who you've been talking to, but I'm offended that you would say that.
All right. That concludes the questions portions of our forum. We now, questions and closing statements. Thank you, candidates. I would like to thank each of our candidates for participating in tonight's forum. Thank you for your service to the community and for your willingness to participate in the democratic process by running for office. I know it's a lot of work. I would like to remind you all in the audience that the views expressed in the forum tonight were those of the candidates, not those of the League of Women Voters Rochester or any partner or sponsor of the forum. Thank you all for coming tonight. Thanks to our partners, the Rochester Area Chamber of Commerce, the Rochester Post Bulletin, and the Rochester Public Library. Remember that primary election day is August 11th and that early voting has started. If you have voted with an absentee ballot or would like to change your ballot based on what you learned tonight, visit mnvotes.org for more information on that process. Please remember to vote. I don't question that anyone in this room is going to forget to vote. If you have a question about your polling place or would like to see a sample ballot or learn more about the candidates, visit vote411.org. Rochester Public Library and the Rochester League of Women Voters Rochester post complete unedited recordings of these forums. Editing is authorized only for official media reporting. Excerpts or edited clips of this forum may not be posted on candidate websites or social media used by for political purposes. Links to the League of Women Voters or Rochester Public Library recordings, however, are welcome. To see this forum again or to find the link, access the forums from the League of Women Voters Rochester website or the Rochester Public Library YouTube channel. Thank you for coming. Good luck with the traffic downtown and have a good evening.
Question.
Yeah. Up there? Yeah. Did that seem unfair?
It did very much because every question asked